Hey guys, it's Erica. I want to talk about commitment today, especially because it's a theme that's been coming up in a lot of the recent sessions that I've been doing with men. And I think we can all agree that the value of commitment is something that is noble, honorable, something that we all strive to be. Nobody wants to be uncommitted or uncommittal to something. Being committed in a lot of ways is a very, very beautiful thing and an important value that is um is something that a lot of men especially have ingrained within them from childhood. That idea of don't give up. When things get hard, keep trying, stay committed. If you make a commitment, your word is honorable, and therefore you need to keep that commitment. But what's interesting is in the recent sessions that have been going on in my other work is the idea that being committed is a good thing, but at what point does it become self-sacrificing? And I think that's the $1,000,000 question that a lot of people, and men especially, really need to consider. At what point, when you've made a commitment to something, does it get to the point where the commitment or the perceived commitment to whatever it is actually not in your highest and best? It's actually hurting you. It's actually, I don't want to say damaging because that's not the best word, but not in alignment with what is best for you. And obviously being committed to something really is a good thing because especially with things that matter, there are going to be ups and downs. And the commitment level is like, no, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work through these ups and downs, whether it be a commitment to a job, a commitment to a career path, a commitment to, a relationship. Obviously, that's another big area where commitments come in, of course. But, at what point does it hurt you, and is it harmful, and is it not in your best interest to continue with the commitment? Because I'm seeing a lot of men right now really struggling with the idea that they have started something or they've committed to something, yet it's no longer serving them. And you guys know I like to come back to definitions, and I think this is a really good one. So according to the New American Dictionary, commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity, etc., or a pledge or an undertaking. Which, okay, makes sense, right? But here's the secondary definition, which I think is really the crux of what I'm getting at here today, is it says an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. And we all know that masculine energy that is within all of us, but I'm talking to the men here, obviously. Sometimes these commitments will restrict proper action, whether that be proper action to further a cause or proper action for your best path. And I guess that's the question that clearly only you can answer for yourself about the commitments that you've made in your life. And it's funny, I was shown a vision when in a recent session that I think really illustrates this really beautifully. And I was shown the vision of a gardener. He had a plot of land. Let me put this phone down. He had a plot of land, and he had been gardening and growing his food, his crops on this plot of land for quite a while. He had committed to this one area. He had tilled the soil, planted the seeds, grew some crops, but as he kept tending to this garden, things just weren't quite working. He was getting some growth and getting some results, but at the same time, it wasn't really, it wasn't yielding that all that he wanted and all that he needed for his sustenance or his thriving. He had enough food, but it wasn't really that tasty. It wasn't really that good. It was fine, but it wasn't like he wasn't thriving. But gosh darn it, he had, cleared the land, he had planted the seeds, he had prepared the soil, and he had put a heck of a lot of time and energy and effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this plot of land. But it wasn't yielding the results that he and his soul really wanted. And so he was shown another plot of land elsewhere that was fresh, vibrant, new, uncharted. And it kept calling to him. He's like, no, gosh darn it. I've committed here. I've already done so much work here. It's not horribly bad. I can manage okay. But it's like that plot of land that he saw when he was out one day walking was really beckoning him. And it was like speaking to him, going like, pick me, pick me. There's much more opportunity here. My soil is much more fertile. There's a lot more fresh resources here. And you're not going to trust me. But it's like he kept being drawn to that plot of land, but he was so committed. And so the question is, at what point is this guy going to leave behind what he has already worked for in order to have a more abundant and fertile life? And arguably, this other plot of land is a much better place for him. The soil is much more naturally abundant. There's all these natural resources. There's water. There's the right animals to fertilize the land. I mean, it's like there's just so much land there. And you know how it happens, if you're a gardener, you get this. But eventually the soil becomes depleted of nutrients if you don't continue to work to cultivate the minerals in the soil, fertilize the soil and get the right balance of nutrients in the soil, putting things back into it. So there does come a point where it's like, and farmers do it all the time. There's this plot of land they've farmed for a while. They let it go and they move on to a new area. So I guess the question for you is, where in your life are you continuing to be that farmer that's trying to make it work in the area that you've put a lot of commitment in? For many people I've been coaching, there's a lot of this has to do with career paths, or even where they're living. I've committed to a job. I moved my family across the country, but man, it's just not bearing the fruit that I want it to. But I made a commitment, and I want to be an honorable person, a decent person that honors the commitments I've made to this company. But at the end of the day, they're not fulfilled. And maybe there's another opportunity that will yield more results. So I hope that this gives you some food for thought, but it is something that a lot of people are facing right now. And it's been a big topic of my sessions with individuals in their journeys and their paths. But there is no shame in making the decision that a previous commitment has just run its course and choosing to move on. And that's the other piece of this, is a lot of people are holding on to these obligations for fear of disappointing others. And that can be a real emotional pull, right? You don't want to be seen as the person who doesn't follow through on a commitment. You don't want to be seen as selfish. You don't want to be seen as inconsiderate or insensitive. So, but at the same time, is it truly aligned with your path and your highest and best? So I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, this concept of commitment and what you've learned about this in your life and how you have navigated those situations where you were this farmer with, something you had put a lot of effort into, but maybe it was just not yielding the results that you desired. So my friends, I hope that this was helpful. Do give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And my cat's, of course, coming to say hi. But until next time, bye.